Hey everyone, I'm Alyssa, an Indianapolis Colts cheerleader for the 2024 season, and this is Believe in Colts.
All right, last time I was talking about how hot it was. Look at how things changed.
Perfect now.
Okay, welcome. Here we are, training camp. Things go up and down. All right, have at it. What y'all got?
Coach, with Tyler Warren, he was utilized in a very unique way at Penn State. How do you balance, opening up the playbook for him and getting him to buy into your scheme?
Yeah, it's as we evaluate how to use any young player, we're going to let him play to their strengths, and he's so versatile. He does so many things so well, but you also want to be careful not to throw too much on a rookie. He's doing a great job of handling what we're asking right now, and this time of training camp, we sort of put in the whole offense. So it is a lot mentally for guys to work through, making sure they know all the details of their job, and when you move around the multiple roles, multiple spots within every play, really in a highly detailed manner. So it's something we're being really conscious of, but at the same time, he's a young man that can do a lot of things well, and we're gonna let him try some of those things and see what can help us for the season. So as we're going through camp, we're mixing him in and out of different roles, different spots, different assignments, and seeing how he handles it. And he's been doing a great job.
Has Anthony Gold taken a step as a receiver?
Absolutely. He put in a really good off-season of work, and it's showing here at camp. He's flying around out there. He's making plays. The ball gets spread around in training camp sometimes because you utilize the entire installation of the offense, and we put a bunch of plays in. The quarterbacks are working their progressions, and Anthony's done such a nice job of when his number's called or when he's on that sort of first read or second read, he's showing up for the quarterback. He's doing everything he can to win those matchups. And like I said, he's playing really good ball right now. We got a lot of training camp to go. We all got to keep pushing to get better. But yeah, he's absolutely gotten better. He's doing a great job.
Adonai Mitchell.
In terms of decision making in the red zone today and highs, lows, etc.
Yeah, red zone, sort of drop back passing practice is always a little bit of a high leverage situation for a quarterback. You drop back 12 straight times in 7-on-7. The defense sort of squeezes those zones. The man coverage is tighter. We're trying new plays. We want to be really good at all that stuff. At the same time, these guys are working different progressions and where they can throw certain balls. So we want to go through a practice and be really clean, but at the same time, you don't want those guys to avoid sort of working on trying a throw or working on trying to hit a certain receiver in a certain spot, maybe a back shoulder type of throw. So red zone practices, when you sort them up at the end of the year, they don't always end up being your highest production practices, but we do get a lot out of them. It's going to make us better moving forward. There's going to be some things we can coach off of today's tape, but it was an encouraging day because we're working a lot of things that I think we got better at.
Adonai Mitchell had a
just an observation that maybe AD had a slow first week, but he's really come on, Mitchell.
Yeah,
What did you think?
he's done a really nice job making plays. This past week, he's had a bunch of opportunities. Like all these receivers, sometimes you get a few more, you get a few less each week. AD's number's been called a few times, and the quarterbacks have looked his way a few extra times, and he's taken advantage of those things. We had a little backed up situation today, and quarterback looked out there and saw AD Mitchell one-on-one. I'm going to throw it to AD. He's going to get us out of this backed up situation, and he was there for the quarterback. He was open. So as a receiver, it's our job, it's your job. Everything you can do to get open every play, make every catch you can, keep improving as a player. He's doing that. Things come and go in waves in training camp for guys, but AD's really had a really nice week. And like I said about Anthony, we got a lot of work left to do in camp. We got to keep pushing to get better, but we're encouraged by AD's work that he's had this week.
What have you seen from DJ Giddens?
DJ's done a really nice job. He's a young guy who's been put in some different roles maybe than he was in college. Just in the NFL, gosh, you're running the ball, but maybe you're running it from different sides and behind the quarterback. You're running these routes that maybe you never ran in college. You're working different blitz pickup schemes. Oftentimes a young running back has a lot on his plate learning that. It is a little bit different than college. DJ's done a really nice job of picking up the offense, picking up his role, and then going out and executing. And a couple times, and obviously we're not always fully tackling in practice, so as a back you're not fully getting tackled, but oftentimes he has had a knack in this camp of sort of finding that crease, reading that defense the right way, and sort of working with his offensive line to create yards. So we're real encouraged with DJ. I'm excited to sort of watch him continue trying different roles and different routes and different run schemes within this offense, seeing exactly what he's comfortable with and where he goes from here.
Coach, I've seen AD have
some huge flashes in practice, even last year in camp. How do you get him to do it on Sunday, consistently on Sunday, right? That's the next step.
Yeah, consistency is so huge for our whole offense and for any young player. AD fits into the young player mold. You want to be consistent day after day, week after week. Those guys, those receivers, they love when they get the opportunity to make those big plays. And for AD to have those opportunities, he's so excited to go make them. Sometimes it's easier for a receiver when you get 10 or 12 targets in a game than 2 or 3, because you try so hard when you get those 2 or 3, and sometimes you just got to sort of play one play at a time, play after play after play. Young players always seem to learn that lesson. I think as our entire offense plays with a little more consistency, that's going to help. That's going to help everybody play with consistency. So I think it's going to come for him. He's a young, talented player. The upside's real high. I'm excited about his future. I'm excited to see sort of what he does with the rest of camp and where that leads into the season for him.
Time for a couple more.
Coach, going up against Lou Anarumo in his first year as a Colts defensive coordinator in this new look secondary, how's it been for you guys making that adjustment from what you guys have faced in the past year?
Yeah, it's been a different offseason. It's been a different camp. A lot of different fronts, a lot of different coverages, a little more tight man coverage, a little more some different pressure packages that we're working to pick up. Lou's done such a nice job over the years of really giving offenses fits in the NFL, and we're seeing that full defensive install right now. We're having to get ready sort of for a brand new collection of problems that he causes every day when he installs stuff. So we're out there working on our stuff. He's working on his stuff, and he's allowing different guys to work different things, whether it's maybe a center who's seeing different fronts or a receiver who's getting a little more tight coverage. All that stuff's really, really good for us. So it's been a different camp for our offensive guys and our offensive coaches sort of attacking that scheme or trying to, sort of figure out the nuances of that scheme, which I think is going to be really good for us as we get to the season. I'm excited about it.
With a few days left,
Last question here.
with a few days under the belt so far with pads on, how are you feeling about the tight end group so far as a whole?
Yeah, I feel good about that group. The pads, it's always so fun when we put the pads on. I think we've had such a good week of work, sort of since I saw you all last. The tight end group's doing a great job. Tyler Warren's coming in here. We just talked about he's doing a bunch of different versatile roles. We're putting him in a bunch of different spots. And then, you got Mo Alley Cox, you got Tree, you got Mallory's really doing a nice job. Those guys are doing a great job sort of in the blocking game. A lot of times we cover the passes. We talk about the great catch that Mallory made. Tree had a great catch today. Mo's had a bunch. Those guys make great plays in the passing game. Obviously, Tyler's kind of had the big fun video clip catch of the day the other day. Those guys have all made plays in the passing game, but they're doing a really nice job of blocking. At the tight end position, you got to do both. Those guys are a big part of our offense. For our offense to get where we need to go, that tight end room's really gonna help us, I think. But the work in pads has been great. It's as close to real football as we're going to get till we turn the lights on and play a real game. So we're excited to continue that work and keep them coming. So appreciate y'all coming out today.
Thanks for being here. Got Lou coming.
All right, guys, fire away.
Jonathan Edwards, just like what you see so far?
Yeah, he's a rookie. Rookie corners will go through ups and downs both in practice and in the preseason games. So he's, got some guys nicked up, and all those guys will get reps. We'll see where it goes.
Coach, what have you been seeing from Justin Wally coming in as a rookie and starting at that number 2 outside corner?
Well, since the day he's been here, first and foremost, his energy level, his competitive spirit, everything about him has been what we want. Those guys in that meeting room, generally speaking, corners are usually jumping all over the place. They have a lot of energy, and that's a good thing. He embodies that. And he's tough. He's competitive. Again, rookie corners. It's a process for them, and there's going to be some bad plays, but there's also going to be really good ones, and you just got to have a next play mentality. He's definitely has that. So smart. He's learning inside and outside. So please look at that.
Coach Joe Bocci has had an outstanding camp. We've seen him look like he could be a starter. What do you make of these games?
Well, Joe has done a good job, as you mentioned. Had another interception today, and he played some really meaningful snaps for us in Cincinnati, and we won some games with him operating. not only as just a guy, but as the green dot, and Logan Wilson got hurt and Joe stepped in. So I have the utmost confidence in Joe. He's a worker, he's a great guy, and he's going to be in the right spots more than well.
Zaire is obviously, he's working his way back now. How open is the linebacker group around him, like I guess in the starting lineup?
Yeah, here's the good news about that room is we're still working through it. Practice 7, 8 today, whatever it is. We haven't even played a preseason game, so I love the competition that's going on in there. And all that will sort itself out as we get through these practices that we're having. And the good news is I believe we'll come out of it with a deep room. I want to be able to use those guys, whatever their strengths may be, to the best of our ability. And I feel like all of them at some point will help us.
Lots of last couple of practices. Some of the obviously strip sacks the other night.
Yeah, he's been consistent. I think a guy that's on the ascent, and as I mentioned the other day about him, he wants to be great. And he has all the ability to do that. So just a guy that's honing in on his techniques and responsibilities, and he's done a great job.
With Zaire, as much as he's playing, experience, missing time has to hurt. What's the value of him being out there and just learning the defense on the field?
Yeah, I think he's really done a great job with extra meeting time, and he knows what's going on, he knows what to do, but it's a little bit different. You got your helmet on and you're standing in front of the huddle and you're making the calls, and again, we're still really early in camp, and the fact that he's at the point he's at from a rehab standpoint, I'm pleased, and I'm not worried about him picking it up and moving forward.
McGrone's been here for a few years. I mean, you're getting your first eyes on him, but what's the feedback been from guys who've been around him, like Chris and some of the other players? Like, how has he grown out of where you're seeing him?
Well, I just think another high energy guy can really run. Made some plays out here in training camp, made some plays back in OTAs. So I'm anxious to, we're out there, and it's, we're fortunate. We get to go against two really, really, really good football teams. I know Baltimore really well, having played them all those years, and certainly Green Bay, playoff team. So, all those practices, the games, they'll all reveal itself for all those guys. I'm anxious to see all of them play and get after it.
Well, we've asked about everybody in the secondary, besides Nick Cross. What's been your impression of him at that conversation?
Nick? Yeah, I'm happy and pleased with where he's at. It's a different deal for him. I think he's built on the foundation he laid in the spring, and really kind of just hit the ground running when we got back. And he's done some good things out there.
What do you think has led to the success of the secondary so far in camp? It seems like they're making huge breakups every single practice.
Well, that's their job. The job description A1A is to cover a guy and knock the ball down. So, we've got some guys that are being in good position and been able to make plays. There's good energy on the sideline, and I want that all the time. Those guys are competing at a high level, and just want to make sure that they're out there. Listen, this is a tough game. I'm a little biased. I'm a DB coach by trade. Those, other than the quarterback, they've got a tough job out there. Rules are against them, and everybody sees when they make a mistake. Not too many people see it. I love the D-line, but if they get out of a gap, there's not many people seeing that. But if a corner makes a mistake, everybody with two eyes can see that. So they got a tough deal. They got, as I mentioned before, young players, veteran players. They know you got to have a next play mentality and be ready to bounce back and get on to the next one. They're going to catch footballs. It's the NFL.
What was your initial thought from the defense, how they handled both quarterbacks in that final 2 minute drill?
Yeah, it was good. I think it's a base kind of call deal right now when it comes to that. So we don't do a whole lot, and we're just getting used to the mechanics of signaling from the sideline on the ball. So we kept it really simple there, but they executed what I was asking.
All right, thanks, Luke.
Thank you very much.
How we doing?
Who are you?
You got some good opportunities, the kickers, on Thursday night that you had mentioned we needed to kind of watch out for. What in these last couple of days have you how's the race between Spencer and Maddox kind of developed now?
With two talented young kickers, there's going to be some bumps in the road. We just got to keep pushing them forward. We're going to have those guys compete until somebody definitively shows himself to be the guy, and then we'll move to that person being the majority of the reps. So, every time we come out, they're kicking 3 times a week. We're trying to get the most work out of them we can when they are live to go. So we'll kick 10 to 12 balls as a full specialist unit on our own, where we can film and evaluate those kicks so we can get more data and ability to watch. And then those days are live. We'll get him out to kick in front of the whole team. Usually that's 3 to 6 kicks depending on the time in the day. Obviously the kicks that are live in front of the whole team will be weighted a little bit more than the kicks we do on our own. The kicks we do like in a night practice or a joint practice will take a little bit more weight. The kicks we do in a game will take more than that. We'll keep splitting reps, for now, at least through the Baltimore week, and we'll kind of evaluate things from there. Overall, Spence is kicking 87%, so combined from on our own and then into practice. He did better week 2 than week 1. We'd love for him and expect him to be over 90%. Our objective is for the start to be over 90%, which we're not there yet. So we got to keep taking steps forward. He's really talented. He's had 2 misses in the last 2 weeks that both hit the uprights of both good balls. Those are little things that we can get corrected. We can keep moving forward with him. Maddox is 74% overall, so obviously, we got to get him cleaned up on a couple little things, especially when he goes live. But he's talented. We just got to keep taking steps forward.
Is there a timeline that you want to know or name a starter for starting kicker?
There's not a timeline, like when we know a guy for sure is ready to be the starter, then we'll move forward with that and get him out there.
Anthony Joel obviously returning last year, kind of started out there, downs at it for a while. What have you seen from him in terms of being a little more confident so far this year?
Yeah, really, we talked a lot about him during OTAs too. I think he's really handled himself like a pro. He's worked really hard, both at the end of last year and in OTAs. I think, as a whole, I think a lot of people would say he's having a really good camp, offensively and special teams. You trust his decision making, you trust his ball security, you trust his ability to be able to make a big play. Really high on him, excited to see what he can do in joint practice and preseason games. He'll get a lot of those reps early, in joint practice or early in the preseason game, and then we'll some other guys in. But I just, he's a guy that you can really trust. You know he's going to work and he's going to make it.
How often throughout these sessions is the defense legitimately trying to block? Like they're told, full bore, you can go ahead and attempt to block on a field goal.
On a field goal is not live.
Okay.
So field goal will only be live in a preseason game. However, on punt, we're trying to get a game rep every single time. To put pressure on guys, we're rotating a lot of guys in there to see who can be able to anchor and strike and do a great job in protection. So the punt return team is rushing as hard as they possibly can, trying to get as many game reps as we possibly can there. For field goal protection, to help those guys up front and not bang on them too much, we won't do live reps until we go against another player.
Coach, you had some very effective and aggressive strategies at the college level at Notre Dame and Cincinnati. What has been the biggest difference in changing as a special teams coordinator at the NFL level?
I think there's a variety of changes. Obviously, the punt scheme as a whole is a change. Everybody's doing a pro-style punt versus in college. There's different rules, so there's a variety of different ways that you can attack different punt schemes. Certainly in the NFL, every single week's the best versus the best. The best coach that, versus the best coach, the best talent versus the best talent. So certainly it comes a lot more to attacking matchups in the NFL versus there's a lot of different schemes, so you can attack some different schemes a little bit more in college. Certainly, with it being the best versus the best, there's a little bit to it where there's certain instances where you're able to be more aggressive. Right? In college, you can probably get away with being aggressive more regularly, whereas you're trying to generate a return, or you're in a position where you have to play a fake, or there's an option for a fake near midfield or 40 meter, you have to do some different things in the NFL. Certainly, it's harder to generate a return in the NFL because the gunners are so talented. If you just single the gunners, so that in order to generate returns, you're going to have to be able to vice a gunner or stack somebody out to do that, so it makes you a little bit less aggressive as well. Whereas in college, you can kind of get away with not having to do that and still generate returns.
Is there a quality you're specifically looking for in a gunner?
Gunner. So the very first thing, they've got to be able to win at the line of scrimmage. So we're looking at somebody that's got a great release, great explosion and speed, and then somebody that's got physical toughness that can be able to finish it. Like obviously a total package, like an Ashton Doolin, a receiver who is strong, he's physical, he's got explosion, he's really good with releases, being a receiver, but he's also got the ability to tackle. Usually DBs, because they have that ability to finish through a tackle, are also guys that are really good at it. But you would love receivers who have also in their career played defense, become very valuable there. Like if they played defense in high school or college, and they have the ability to tackle and release, would be the perfect combo. Right? Thanks, guys.
We've got AD Mitchell for you.
What's up, AD? Things are heating up for you a lot in this last week. Are you noticing anything? Is there a shift in confidence or anything you can kind of point to explain it?
Really just playing football, playing the game I love, and just taking the meeting room to the field.
The sideline catch there out of bounds when he caught that in the end zone. How'd you feel about that? Could you walk us through the whole system of it happening there in your mind?
Talking about today?
Yeah.
Working a lot out route into the boundary, one-on-one. Kind of once I broke, I just hoped the ball was going to be on the way.
Yeah.
So violated a good one out there, and it just came down with it. Felt like everything came together right there.
And I'm just going to get because you just said, how much of this process is gaining the trust of the quarterbacks, and obviously the coaches too, but just doing what you're doing consistently, how does that help you gain the trust of the quarterbacks?
I mean, you just go out there and just try to execute the best of your ability every chance you get. I feel like I have a lot of ability, so I try to put it on full display every day, every snap, and we just once it comes together, you kind of just hope day by day that you're able to look back at the day and say, did I do everything I could have done today, and was I at my best? And everything else kind of works from there. But
how did your two camp compare to your one camp? Do you feel more confident?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. I felt more poised. Last year it just felt like I was ripping and running from the start of camp to the end of the year. But I got the ability to get my first off season under my belt. Got a lot of time to, first of all, relax and work at the same time. And now we in year 2 now, and I just feel more comfortable, whether it's in the meeting rooms, walkthrough. I'm not focused on what the play is, what do I have to do. I'm focused on how I'm doing it and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like that's just kind of year 2 things.
AD, what was your biggest focus in the offseason? Your biggest asset that you wanted to improve, or your physical gifts, or whatever? What do you want to work on this offseason?
Number one, staying open. I feel like that I do that very well, and sometimes when you have a power, you want to keep refining it, not just be a jack of all trades, and really just catching. Get open, catch the ball. Of course, workouts, you're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get faster. So staying open and catching the rock, I feel like that's always going to be the main focus.
How did you kind of refocus after the first week of camp? Because I know you would like to have some of those drops back, I'm sure, but you didn't seem phased by it because now you've been on the roll here. How did you kind of refocus after that?
Honestly, it was just, I don't know, it felt like something was in the air or something. But, I knew it'll eventually come together. Like, I know my hands work, I know my routes work. It was all just a matter of time, I guess just a couple of days slump, I guess.
How was Reggie treat you?
How was Reggie treat
you?
Tough love or what? Definitely, he definitely loved the tough love, but he's very encouraging. I will say that. He definitely helped me a lot from last year, and kind of I felt like he'd been there every step of the way through, from when I first got here to where I am now, year 2, second training camp. I feel like he's been the biggest voice in my ear in this building, so I definitely am grateful for that.
So when there was something in the air last week, was he on you more, or how did he kind of help you get through?
No, kind of. He was just, he would say every day after practice, like, I'm not worried about y'all. Like, I know we can catch. We just gotta make the plays when it comes, and we making the plays when they coming down. So just keep doing it.
Hey, you mentioned needing like a mental break from last season.
Yeah.
What did that look like for you? And I guess, how did you mentally prepare for the season when I guess kind of what to expect the second time
First I just, relaxed, spent a lot of time with the fam, spent a lot of time with my daughter, and then kind of once it came down to work, I knew I belonged. Like, I knew if somebody leave me one-on-one on an island, like somebody gonna regret it, and it ain't gonna be me. So, kind of just refining my game, knowing where to be. I feel like the main thing was probably building chemistry with quarterbacks. I feel like I run routes a little differently, changing tempos, changing speeds a lot. So probably getting right with the quarterbacks was probably the biggest thing, to go back a couple questions. So yeah, but I definitely knew I belonged.
Last question.
What do you need to accomplish in your second year to look back on it as a success?
Just take it day by day, man. I'm not even looking at kind of the season or the preseason. I can't even see past these meetings that we don't have it too, to be real with you. So just taking everything day by day, step by step, and just keep marching forward.
That's it for today, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Do you believe?